Hello there, welcome back to another Star Wars What If reaction. Today, reacting to What If Palpatine Was Not a Sith Lord as Chancellor, created by the Star Wars Galaxies. Be sure to check them out, the links in the description, and I cannot wait to see what is coming for this What If. Let's jump right in.
Our story begins deep in the mines of Baldemnik as the Sith Lords Tenebris and Plagueis are mining for cortosis,
We're this far back.
metal that can be overpowering for lightsabers. But as they mine,
alright, this is where Plagueis kills Tenebris.
the droid they were using to verify the metal was here took a wrong turn, causing the cortosis to begin to explode.
Nice.
This metal is highly explosive, and the entire cave they were in began to shake until it completely collapsed on top of the two Sith, killing both of them, ending the Sith lineage.
What? Just like that? That's how we're gonna start the video off? Because originally, this Plagueis organized the explosion in order to, or well, actually he didn't. From what I remember, it exploded, boom, and then when the cave collapsed on Tenebris, Plagueis used this as his opportunity to kill Tenebris. But since it was, wow, so he killed both of them. Wow.
Until a new darkness could be born. The Sith, taking on the riskiest mission of their lives, would meet their end together.
Actually, one thing though. The Sith wouldn't be gone because by this time, Tenebris had another secret apprentice, his secret apprentice was also a Biff, just like him. I don't remember the name. So, and I don't really know much about that, Sith and all that, but technically he is a Sith. I mean, he was trained secretly by Tenebris, but I don't even know what happened of him in the original timeline, so.
And now, so many decades later, Sheev Palpatine of Naboo would be born and welcomed into the royal family. Sheev would not be born with the Force, or at least not enough of it to ever truly be felt, and instead he would pursue a life in politics.
Okay.
And from an early age, it was obvious to everyone on Naboo that Sheev was destined for a grand life leading Naboo, or perhaps even more. Palpatine would go on to excel in school, and in his 20s, he would begin truly working with the people and the politicians of Naboo to try and expand Naboo's reach and become much more modern with the rest of the galaxy.
Okay.
Palpatine's overreach would cause a rift between him and his father, as Palpatine saw his father as being greedy, arrogant, and out of touch with the rest of the galaxy.
So Palpatine, I know originally he killed his whole family, but I don't actually know why.
When the time came, Sheev Palpatine ran as a senator, and he ran as a candidate of change, proposing legislation that would allow corporations like the Trade Federation and the banking clan to begin building plasma facilities here, as Naboo was rich in unmined plasma, and this would allow Naboo to become wealthy for many, many people. Palpatine's opponents ran on maintaining their place as a sort of standalone planet in the galaxy, keeping to themselves, not letting the outside world determine how they move forward. Ultimately, Palpatine's policy of change, increased wealth, would win, and he became Senator Palpatine, completely abandoning his family in favor of building a better Naboo. For many more years, Palpatine's time as a senator would have him oversee a new age of prosperity for the planet. Both the Trade Federation and the banking clan certainly had some slimy, corrupt people within, but without the manipulations of those like Plagueis or Sidious, they were just typical corporations trying to increase their wealth. And in turn, the people of Naboo would benefit greatly from the plasma mining that was taking place here. But while working closely with the Federation on Naboo, Palpatine was also secretly working with many senators on Coruscant to disrupt the monopoly on trade that the Federation had built.
I see.
Palpatine was able to get more on the inner circle of the Federation, and he was able to see a lot of the inner workings that were taking place. And the Federation had bought out the votes for so many senators in Coruscant, and it was clear how greedy they've become. So after a couple decades as senator, and seeing Naboo grow so much, Palpatine's greatest achievement in the wider galaxy...
By the way, how is Padme gonna be like a big character in this timeline? And who's even gonna be the bad guy in this? Like, the Sith are gone.
Would be undermining the Trade Federation and creating enough distrust between them and the rest of the galaxy to where the monopoly on trade would nearly evaporate. With this accomplishment, Palpatine's name would be whispered by the senators and by the people for many years to come, as to be the eventual successor for Chancellor Valorum, as Valorum was contemplating retirement very soon. He did everything he wanted to do in office. He recognized that the Senate has largely become a tool for whatever has the most money. He was losing power, and it was obvious there was a need for a voice with more influence to enter the ring. So, Valorum would soon retire from office around the same time that a pod race was held on Tatooine, and the young Anakin Skywalker snuck into the race while his mother and Watto were distracted.
I see.
And so, as Sheev, Palpatine was being voted in to become the new Chancellor.
I like how everything is still like coming out at the same time. Like Anakin is doing the pod race in the same timeline, and Palpatine became senator like a day later, something like that.
Across the galaxy on Tatooine, the first human to win the race would be the young Skywalker boy. He won more than enough credits to free his mother and himself.
Oh wow!
But soon the Jedi would hear of this boy, and a trio of Dooku, Qui-Gon Jinn, and Obi-Wan Kenobi would
They heard of him. Okay, interesting.
Find Anakin on Tatooine. Tests for midichlorian count would find that Anakin has a count higher than even Yoda himself.
Wow.
And so, the Jedi would bring him back to Coruscant, with Qui-Gon fully convinced he is the chosen one. Dooku, on the other hand, was not so sure. The boy was definitely powerful, but Dooku noticed more so the planet of Tatooine itself. It was completely broken, and so many people were living terrible lives in poverty or slavery.
More like everyone.
Dooku saw that the Republic was failing so many people, and while the Council sits in its ivory tower above the people, so many citizens suffer to live every day. And Dooku would soon leave the Jedi Order, choosing to take on a life in politics.
Oh wow.
Especially after the election of Palpatine to the role of Chancellor.
I like that.
Dooku thought that perhaps Palpatine could be the change that the Republic so desperately needs. And so, over time,
This is certainly interesting so far. So, Dooku is, gonna be the Countess Sereno now, probably. He's getting into politics, and maybe he might become, like, an ally of Palpatine and all that, but I still don't see, like, what's going to be the evil here,
Dooku would begin to become this number 2 to Palpatine.
Oh, okay.
The Republic would begin to see an era of change with Supreme Chancellor Palpatine, as he sought to both modernize the galaxy, while also taking the best aspects of the High Republic era and reintroducing them to the galaxy that has grown stale and let pirates or criminal gangs intimidate them in the further reaches of the Republic.
Okay.
Palpatine would choose to trust the Jedi as true allies, rather than just necessary partners, and Palpatine would form an excellent relationship with Mace Windu, as Windu loved the Republic more than anything else.
That's ironic.
Windu knew what the Republic could be for the people, and under Chancellor Palpatine, the Jedi would aid in both expansion further into the galaxy to planets like Tatooine and Navarro that had become taken over by crime, while also helping to reform the underworld of Coruscant. Squads of Jedi, led by Quinlan Vos and Aayla Secura, among others.
Yeah, I must say, the underworld of Coruscant really does need, some cleaning up, if you know what I mean.
Would begin working directly with the office of the Chancellor to divert funds that were going to the banking clan, Techno Union, Commerce Guild, or directly into the Senator's pockets, and they would work tirelessly to bring more relief centers into the underworld, where countless people were struggling to get by. And although this expansion into the galaxy, along with bringing aid to the people, was overall good for the galaxy, Palpatine made a ton of political enemies who were not pleased that they weren't getting any richer. And
well, guess what? You're a politician and your job is kind of to, do good, but...
This would be something that Dooku would slowly begin to exploit. Over the years, Dooku would see that the Republic would eventually be ripe for a civil war. The most powerful people in the galaxy, aside from the Jedi...
So, the Civil War is going to happen still, but, like, again, where's the evil? Are the Sith returning somehow?
And the Chancellor, and some senators, were displeased with the direction of the Republic. Dooku had aspirations to take over the Republic one day, after Palpatine himself has retired, or died. So Dooku would begin trying to undermine Palpatine by convincing senators that his plans for the galaxy would ultimately be bad for everyone.
Oh.
And it was beginning to work.
Oh, wow.
All the while, the people and the Jedi were behind Palpatine. Young Anakin...
This is interesting. This is interesting.
Skywalker, Padawan to Qui-Gon Jinn, would end up getting close to Palpatine himself, as the Chancellor recognized that Anakin was much different than the rest of the Jedi. He had genuine emotions that he would never be able to get rid of, and should never get rid of. And although Qui-Gon did his best to embrace these emotions, he would always be somewhat restricted by the Jedi Code. Palpatine, though, could tell Anakin, like himself, was born to someday lead the people of this galaxy. Whether that be atop the Jedi Order or something else, Palpatine knew Skywalker's future was bright. When he was just 16 years old, the people of Tatooine rallied around Anakin, as he and Qui-Gon led a mission to end the slavery here and invite the planet to join the Republic once the criminal gangs controlling Tatooine were finally dealt with.
That's interesting.
It would be a year-long mission, and Palpatine would get daily updates from Anakin himself or from the HoloNet, seeing how Anakin shined as a leader and how the people loved him. More time would continue to pass by, and Palpatine's legislature would begin to slow in its success rate. Dooku was now on as a key advisor to Palpatine, basically a vice chancellor, as Palpatine wanted the former Jedi turned politician to help bring the people together. But during all of this, Dooku was still paying off senators to go against Palpatine. This, in turn, was causing Palpatine to slowly implement emergency powers to his role, without ever really realizing that he was taking power away from the people. He was simply doing what was best for the galaxy, and this would inadvertently make the role of the Senate weaker. Palpatine wanted no part of being an emperor or a dictator, but some would begin
what Duke is doing here is really interesting
to see him that way as he continued to gain power. In one of Palpatine's greatest achievements as Chancellor, he and the Jedi would discover a new network of hyperspace routes into the unknown regions and the Outer Rim, allowing them to bring relief aid to these planets from routes that the pirates controlling the planets would never see coming. These routes allowed for even more expansion, and the people were unified behind Palpatine. And after 12 years as Chancellor, Palpatine's 2 terms were officially over. There were some
12 years, so Star Wars has 6-year terms. Very interesting.
Some senators and many planets vying to alter the Constitution and keep Palpatine in office. But Palpatine recognized now he already altered the Constitution enough. It was time for a change, and Palpatine looked to his options. The only reasonable one was Dooku, but as Palpatine considered this, he wasn't sure if that was the right choice after all. He knew that whoever he gave his nomination to would almost certainly be sworn in, and deep down, he knew that Dooku could be dangerous. He was an excellent aide to him for years, but there were whispers that Dooku wanted to turn this republic into an empire. And so, after countless hours mulling over what to do, Palpatine made a choice. After returning him from a mission to Mon Cala, 22-year-old Jedi Knight would be called to visit Palpatine in his private quarters. It was known that the Chancellor was in his final days, and Anakin figured he was just going to wish him well in future endeavors, but when Anakin arrived, everything would begin to change.
I'm going to assume Padme is not in this timeline important at all, because I know that originally her family was like farmers and stuff, and then Palpatine was pretty much the reason she became the queen. That's how her family kind of got popular and maybe rich, and then they got into politics. Her sister also got into politics somehow, I don't know, and then, you know, in this timeline, they're just still farmers probably or something.
His life. The Chancellor welcomed Anakin, congratulating him on being a Jedi Knight, and saying that mastery was not far behind. Anakin thanked him, saying that Qui-Gon has taught him patience, and Palpatine remarked that Anakin's power is greater than any other Jedi he has ever seen. But it is not his physical gifts that has always drawn the two of them together. Palpatine said that he has long been inspired by Anakin's courage, his desire to do what is right for all of the people in the galaxy, even when it bends the Jedi code. He's become an inspiration to so many looking for hope, and he's the exact type of person this galaxy needs, as it tries to
There's no way Palpatine wants Anakin to be Chancellor.
Stay in this era of prosperity. Anakin tilted his head, asking what exactly Palpatine is saying, and so the Chancellor had Anakin sit down. He then told Anakin what his final wish is as Chancellor. He has had a very long political career, from turning Naboo into a modern key part of the Republic, all the way to dramatically bringing down crime and corruption that was deep in the Republic. But he worries it will all be undone if Dooku becomes Chancellor. The Republic needs a youthful, hopeful presence, and Palpatine also said the power of the Republic must be returned to the people. His greatest failure as Chancellor has been allowing his role to slowly be turned into that of an Emperor, and if that role is in the hands of anyone else, then things will go very badly. So now, Palpatine officially asked Anakin to be his replacement as the face of the Republic. Anakin was completely taken aback, but Palpatine assured him that he won't have to become a politician. There are many promising senators that will line up to help him, including Senators Organa of Alderaan
Yeah.
and Amidala of his home planet on Naboo.
Yo! Padme's still senator, let's go.
Anakin thanked Palpatine, and he asked why
So, you know, I'm gonna assume that since like, it makes sense that Palpatine would still somehow, I don't know, Padme would somehow appeal to him, and then he'd, like, help her out and stuff, you know?
those senators can't just take the role
It wasn't mentioned here.
instead. But Palpatine said the galaxy may grow tired of politicians. They need someone like Anakin, someone fresh, and Dooku, although he has that type of personality, will not be looking to use his role for good. So Anakin said he would like to take some time to meditate on this, which, of course, he was granted. But barely a minute after Anakin left the office, Dooku would enter, and through the Force, he could feel that something was definitely off.
Okay.
For more than a decade, Dooku worked tirelessly with Palpatine, and behind the scenes, to carve out his role as the next Chancellor, and to ensure that the people will rally behind him, even if it means
They
civil
won't.
war. It was his dream, and although the Republic was built by Palpatine, Dooku was blinded by his need for power. He still thought it must be torn down, built back up from the bottom. So when Palpatine sat
Dooku's definitely blinded here.
Dooku down and informed him that he has asked Anakin to take over for him, Dooku snapped. The darkness festering deep inside of him erupted like a volcano. And at the same time, Dooku couldn't help himself. He moved like a shadow across the room. His blue lightsaber erupted into Palpatine's chest. And Dooku
Whoa! Nah!
who now stared into Palpatine's dying eyes, saying he does not get to take this from him. Palpatine reached up, touching Dooku's face, and he told the Dark Jedi that he will never win. And then Palpatine died on the floor.
Oh my
Dooku
god.
immediately began to sober up from this infection of the dark side that just overtook him, as he realized what he has done. The Supreme Chancellor lay dead on the floor from his blade. Dooku's head was spinning. He considered a solution. He needed anything. And suddenly, he had it.
What?
He reached over to the comms table, contacting Palpatine's Praetorian guards, telling them that Anakin Skywalker has killed Chancellor Palpatine,
Where's your fucking proof, dumbass?
and he is taking over as Chancellor. He told them that Anakin is still in this building. Find him. Execute him immediately. And Dooku waited as the 10 guards received this order, and they began searching for Skywalker.
Where would they,
Out on a large balcony overlooking the city, Anakin was floating in the air, legs crossed, meditating on his direction in life. Minutes ago, Skywalker felt a ripple in the Force, as if a darkness was awakening, and now Anakin was trying to find the thread from where this darkness came from, when the sound of 10 pairs of footsteps sprinted into the balcony room, and all 10 guards ignited their electrostaffs before telling Skywalker he is set for execution by order of Chancellor Dooku. And now Anakin knew
Chancellor Dooku.
exactly what happened. The only thing now standing between Dooku ruling this galaxy as an emperor was him.
Wow.
These guards would fight to their deaths. Anakin knew that. So Anakin floated down, grabbed his lightsaber, and prepared for an unfortunate battle. And the battle would begin with an explosion of energy as the 10 red-armored Praetorian guards encircled Anakin Skywalker.
Okay.
The balcony atop the 500 Republica building offered no escape, only open air and the dizzying height below. Anakin's gaze flicked between his opponents, his grip tightening on the hilt of his saber, waiting for one of them to strike first. And the first wave would come swiftly, 3 guards lunging forward in perfect unison. Anakin sidestepped one strike, his blade parrying another, while spinning to block a third with the Force push. Sparks flew as his lightsaber clashed against the electrified staffs. Pivoting on his heel, Anakin unleashed a powerful upward strike, sending one guard reeling over the balcony's edge. But as quickly as he took down one, 2 more filled the gap, forcing Skywalker to retreat towards the center of the platform. He spun his blade in wide arcs, deflecting multiple attacks, but the coordinated assault left little room for any offensive
A fight like this would be insane.
strikes, as other guards were slowly moving in, waiting for their chance. Anakin's movements were frantic but precise, a blur of power and skill, born of years from Qui-Gon, Yoda, Windu, Kenobi, so many others. Leaping into the air, he somersaulted over a guard, landed behind them, slashing through another's back as another one died.
Okay.
A flurry of sparks rained down on Anakin as he threw another one into a light fixture above, forcing Anakin to focus his energy in every direction. He deflected blows with blinding speed, the balcony surface scorched with the marks of his lightsabers and the electro staffs. With every swing, he was tested by the Praetorians' highly trained skill. A staff grazed his shoulder, sending a jolt of pain through his arm, but he clenched his jaw, fighting on, spinning into a low sweep to take his guard out.
Bad for
as he was
Anakin.
now cut in half, allowing Anakin to grab his staff and throw it into the chest of another one
Oh, wow.
as he fell off the edge. The battle reached its final moments as the remaining guards pressed him in a tightly knit formation, strikes coming faster with greater force. Anakin's saber was moving in a desperate fiery shield, cutting down another in quick succession.
Okay.
Now down to 3, the guards fought with an even fiercer determination, but Anakin backed up to the wall, then flipped backwards, with his blade cutting through the last of them in a single, devastating swing.
Wow.
As their heads dropped to the floor, the
He
blue
can't beat Dooku though.
glow of Anakin's saber bathed in the balcony of the light. Alone amidst the wreckage of this shattered armor, Anakin took a deep breath, and he moved back into the office building. Sitting at Palpatine's desk was Dooku. The door opened to reveal Skywalker, blade still ignited, and Dooku slowly stood to ignite his own blade. The two of them now began to circle each other, as Anakin told Dooku he
And there's no way Anakin can beat Dooku here.
will pay for what he did to Palpatine. Dooku shook his head, telling Anakin that Palpatine was weak. The two of them should rule together. No Jedi, no politician, no one could ever stand between them. And Dooku yelled that Palpatine is dead. Anakin doesn't have to abide by his rules any longer. But Anakin raised his blade, saying that Palpatine may be gone, but his mission, his message, his dream will live on through him. And Anakin charged forward, as the 500 Republic office was now a storm of clashing blades. Dooku was moving with the precision of an elegant warrior, trying to balance the dark power emerging inside of him, while Skywalker met Dooku's relentless assault with the balance of the Chosen One. The office's grand artwork and furniture were
Come on, there's no way Anakin can actually beat Dooku here.
ripped apart in the battle, carved apart or flung across the room by the Force as the Jedi and the new Sith tried to destroy each other. Anakin still pressed forward with the fury and the strength of the Chosen One as Dooku tried to goad Anakin into embracing the dark powers inside of him. The old Sith spun gracefully, cape swirling as he unleashed a powerful burst of Force lightning, sending Anakin crashing into a
What?
marble pillar. Dooku told him he's finally embraced the darkness. He can never defeat him. But Anakin rose, once more holding up his blade, and Dooku raised a hand once more, summoning more tendrils of dark energy to crackle and lash out towards the young Jedi. Anakin staggered under the assault, but he centered himself, drawing deeply from the Force, from his training, from the light. And the tide shifted. Anakin's movements were fluid, purposeful, and Dooku faltered as Anakin's attacks were faster and stronger, blade cutting through the storm of the dark side. Dooku didn't stand a chance against this new version of Skywalker, and with a final, decisive blow, Anakin disarmed Dooku, sending the Sith lightsaber spinning across the room before stabbing Dooku to kill him. The Republic was now in the hands of Skywalker, just as Palpatine would have wanted. The coming years would see the Republic continue to thrive as Anakin brought power back into the Senate. He was guided by Bail Organa and Padme Amidala, along with Jedi like Qui-Gon and Mace Windu. Padme and Anakin would work closely together, and eventually, the two of them would form a relationship. As they stood together as leaders of the Republic. They would honor the memory of Palpatine to keep growing the Republic, and generations would feel the success that Palpatine, Skywalker, and Amidala would bring to this galaxy. And folks, hope you enjoyed.
Wow, that is a great what if I have to say, indeed. I'm gonna give this one a 9 out of 10. I really like it. It's just so well made. It's funny how the Sith lineage, two of the most powerful beings in the galaxy, just get fucking obliterated by rocks because a cave blew up. But yeah, it's a great way. And Dooku was the evil one in this story, which, you know, makes sense. I like. So yeah, 9 out of 10 for the story. Let me know what you guys would rate the story in the comment section down below, whether you agree with my 9 out of 10 rating or if you don't, and why.
Thanks again for watching. If you enjoyed this reaction, make sure to go subscribe to Star Wars Galaxy for more awesome What If content. And do not forget to subscribe to my channel, leave a like, and turn on those notifications so you never miss an upload. Remember, a new Star Wars What If reaction drops every single day. Join our Discord, links in the description. Also, if you want to support the channel and get exclusive perks, consider joining our Patreon. I'd love to hear your thoughts on this video, so drop a comment with any feedback or let me know which What If I should react to next. Thanks again for watching. This is the way I made the Force review, and until then, I will see you next time.
Hey, you didn't watch it? Well, check out the video on the left side of the screen, which is specifically recommended for you, or check out the playlist on the right of the screen, which contains similar videos to this one, made by me, of course. Hey, remember, subscribe.